Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Real Talk HBCU. Welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Queen Star Cron, and I work on the college board at our Access team. For those of you who were with us last fall, welcome back. And for our new folks, welcome to the Real Talk family. We are so excited to have you here. If you don't know, Real Talk is a virtual college exploration series that connects Black students, parents, and educators with college admission representatives from across the country. Tonight is the first part of our Real Talk special edition HBCU two-night event. In the next 2 days, you'll hear directly from some of the best HBCUs in the country. So thank you so much for being here. Now, before I go any further, I want to give a special shout out to the incredible group of Black women who came together to create this Real Talk conversation. On behalf of these women, our executive leadership team, and the Board of Trustees at the College Board, a huge thank you for joining us. I know that this has been an incredibly tough year. I mean, it's almost a year since everything shut down. And there are many reasons why you can be disengaged right now and disconnected. And so thank you for making time, because we know that there are so many other things you could be doing. But we are so extremely thankful for you, because we know that you are taking charge and starting on your college journey. So let's talk a little bit more about the structure of today. In a few minutes, you'll hear from our special guest, content creator and producer, Freddie Ransom, about her experiences at an HBCU. Then you'll hear directly from the admissions representatives that are representing the schools today. Then we'll get into the Q&A portion, where you'll get all your questions answered in real time. Now, a few housekeeping notes. You will be muted, so I can't hear you, and you will be in listen-only mode for the entire event. There is a chat box at the bottom of your screen where you can send questions throughout our time together. As I said, feel free to ask as many questions as you want, because we are here for you. I will be the only one seeing these questions, so please don't hold back. Let us know whatever questions you have. My only request, if it's a question specifically to a school, please let us know which school it is directed to. If it's a general question, just let us know it's a general question. And we'll answer those questions during the Q&A segment towards the end of the program. So we have a lot of folks on this call, so we'll do our best to get through the questions, because we are here to answer the questions that you have. As I said, I know this has been a tough year, right? So I want to create a good vibes only space, right? I understand a lot of folks may be confused about what they should be doing during the college application process. Here at Real Talk, we are here for you. This is a safe space. Don't hold back. We want to be here to support you as you think about the next step in your education. And we created this program because we know the unique challenges students of color are facing right now. And we wanted a positive environment where you could lay back, chill, learn about colleges, and get your questions answered. So believe in yourself. We are here for you. Here at the College Board, we want to support you. So tonight is going to be a lot of fun, right? It's going to feel a little fast-paced, but that's because we want to get to the questions that you have. So make sure you get those questions answered. Get comfortable, grab a snack, and get ready for some real talk. All right. So let's talk about the upcoming events that we have. Today is day one of a two-night event. So we'll have more Real Talk tomorrow night. So make sure you come tomorrow night. You don't want to miss out. We'll have some more HBCUs coming tomorrow. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I better see you here, because there are going to be more HBCUs. And then next month, we have a Real Talk Paying for College edition. And I like to call it Where the Money Reside, right? Because we want to know how we're going to pay for college. We'll talk all things scholarships. We'll talk financial aid. We'll talk FAFSA. Come and learn more. This will be happening next month. So to help us get ready for that Paying for College session, we're going to do a quick poll because we want to make sure that we are giving you content that is most relevant for you. So on your screen right now, you should see a question that says, how worried are you about being in debt or paying off student loans after college? So please answer that poll. It should be on your screen right now. If it's not, let us know. Please answer that poll, and that your answers to that question will help us plan for the next session. So I'm going to give folks a couple of seconds to get that poll answered, and then we'll get started. All right, so is there a poll coming up? All right. Great. All right, so I'm going to give folks a couple more seconds and then we'll get started into the programming. All right, about 10 more seconds. All right. So let's go into the resources that will help you as you're thinking about college. We know a lot of students are right now virtual, whether you're virtual or hybrid learning. So you'll need a couple of more resources to help you as you're exploring colleges. College Board has so many resources to make college planning easier for you. So you'll see on the screen our student search services. One of the great resources that we have is that. So I don't know about you, but when I was going to college, one of the best feelings I had was getting letters directly from those colleges, specifically when I got it in the mail or through my email. Well, that's exactly what Search does. This is a free program that connects students with colleges and scholarship programs. And most importantly, it allows schools and scholarships to find you. So please don't miss out. Check out the Student Search service. Next, we have the College Board Opportunity Scholarship Program. If you are a current junior, you can sign up for the College Board Opportunity Scholarship Program. This program helps you know the steps in applying for college, and it rewards you with money for things you are already doing, like completing the FAFSA, building a college list, exploring scholarships. What I love about this program is that at least half of the scholarships will go directly to students whose families make less than $60,000. So please make sure you sign up if you are a junior for the College Board Opportunity Scholarship. Last but not least, we have Big Future. It's an online platform that allows you to explore schools. What I love about Big Future is that you can actually create your own college list on Big Future. So if you hear about a school during Real Talk that is very interesting to you, go over to Big Future and you can easily add that school on your list. You'll see the QR code on the screen, which will take you directly to the Big Future website. So all of these resources are specifically geared towards you as you are planning for college. All right. So now that we've gotten all those housekeeping items out of the way, I want us to get started with the content of Real Talk, right? This is my favorite part of the whole night because we get to hear directly from the admissions representatives. And what's even more special today is we heard from y'all that you really enjoyed when Freddie was on last fall. So if you don't know, Freddie is a content creator, she's a producer, and a proud HBCU alumni. So back by popular demand, we have Freddie Ransom. Freddie, are you there?
I'm here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hey, girl, loving the earrings.
Oh,
really
thank
cute.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I love hanging out and talking with you guys, especially about HBCUs. You know, I go up for them. So I'm happy to be here.
As you should. Thank you. So I know it's been a tough year. So just, let's settle ourselves. How are you doing today? How's the mental? How's everything going for you today?
So, every day is different. Every week is different. I will say this week has started off on a great note. It's feeling productive. It's feeling like things are moving. And this is a great addition to my week. So it's a good week. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. And I hope it keeps being positive. So
Girl.
last time you were here, a lot of students said, we love Freddie. We loved hearing about her experience. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions for the folks who might not know you to hear a little bit more about how you began your college planning process, right? So what was the process for you as you were thinking about going to college?
All right. So keep in mind, this was, quite a few years back. Maybe back when I was in high school in 2004 to 2008. So I really started thinking seriously about college, I would say sophomore year. And then, of course, junior year were the SATs that I was taking. So SATs, ACT. I think I took the SATs twice, ACTs once. And that was really when you were getting, really gearing up for these college applications, doing my extracurriculars, all of these things that I knew would look good for these college applications. And so I was doing that. And I also was doing college tours. So, honestly, junior year, I feel like was very stacked with just so many things on top of still going to school and having to maintain my GPA and all those things. So I would say those were the things that I was doing to prep. And then I guess I went on a few college tours, but I went on to 3 HBCUs. I went to Howard, Hampton, and A&T to tour. And then I believe the only non-HBCU school I went and toured was UVA, because I'm from Virginia. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. So that was the only non-HBCU that I toured, but I actually didn't apply. I didn't end up applying. I only applied to Howard. Howard, Hampton, and A&T, because that's just I knew that's where my heart was. So
yes. I ain't mad at it. You knew what you wanted. You're a woman on a mission. Who can be mad at that? I love that. And I love the fact that you talk about you started your junior year. I find so many times students start their senior year and it's almost a little too late. So a lot of students who are on this call, please take Freddie's advice. The earlier you start, the better. So please make sure that you are starting as early as possible in your college planning process. So now, Freddie, second question for you. I know a lot of students, especially in this pandemic, right? They're thinking about paying for college because, money is tight for a lot of families right now. Yeah. So I want you to answer this question about how did you approach paying for college? Specifically, how did you talk about with your parents, right, about paying for college? How did you find out what you needed financially? How did you approach that process? Because I'm sure a lot of students are confused about how to do that. So how did you approach paying for college?
Yeah, it definitely is so much to take in and to learn, and so many steps you have to take to make sure that all your ducks are in a row by the time you actually get to school, to college. But for me, I chatted with my mom about it, of course, even when it came to just talking about colleges that I would even want to apply to, right? I think my parents were very supportive in that they would have allowed me to apply anywhere. And then if I happen to get accepted into some school that's $50,000 a year, then they would have helped me figure it out some kind of way. Yeah. In that way, I'm blessed. But we in no way had that kind of money. Figuring it out, it means asking family, getting scholarships, getting grants, things like that. So one thing that I will say is that my mom was very adamant about me getting out of my hometown. And I know a lot of times, especially in-state school, tuition is much more affordable for a lot of folks, just because of that's just kind of how it's set up. And then when you start to go out of state or to private schools, that's when the price starts to, increase a bit, and you have to really figure out if that in particular is worth it. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, the school that you really want has the program and has the trajectory that will fit into what career you want. And it's right down the street. That's also fine. And that's honestly a perfect scenario. But I think for me, I was really, and I don't think this is a bad thing to say, I was very invested in the social aspect of college and getting into a new city and meeting people from all over the place and that kind of thing. that's what really excited me. And also my mom as well. And then not to mention, she went to Howard. So of course she was like, oh, everything for my daughter. She's going to get out of Richmond, Virginia. She's going to go to my alma mater. She's going to be around Black folk. I mean, this is perfect.
Absolutely.
So it really worked out. And I think in terms of payment, do you want me to go into that in more detail, or is that a separate question?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about like how like FAFSA, that was a huge part of the college application process. So talk a little bit about like the FAFSA, and also like how, I know you just open your eyes because it can be a little intimidating, but that's usually where a lot of people can find money for school, is by applying for the FAFSA. So talk a little bit about that and like the financial component of paying for school.
Yes. Okay. So yes. First of all, is it FAFSA or FAFSA?
FAFSA. So FAFSA. FAFSA. Yeah, it confuses a tongue twister.
Yeah, I say it interchangeably. So FAFSA, my mom applied to FAFSA, I believe spring 2008. So that was spring my senior year going into college. And my mom had a financial advisor at the time. So she had some assistance with just like helping, because that says something right there, right? Like even adults need some kind of guidance when it comes to FAFSA and financial aid and Pell Grants and things like that. It's just so much. And if you're not used to, especially if you're like a, first person to go to college in your family, or, even out of state, or really, it's just definitely something, it's a lot to learn quickly. So she had a financial advisor. We applied, she applied in that spring. I actually didn't end up using financial aid my first year because my aunt had actually passed away and left me money for college. And then also, so that took care of the first year. But then spring of my freshman year of college, we reapplied and I ended up using that money for the following year. And then also with FAFSA, that's a Pell Grant is a lot of times included in that. Yeah, and so that's money that you don't have to pay back, which is really great. So I was able to use that. And then like, it's so interesting because I was very sad, right? Like I applied to one scholarship in high school before going to school, didn't get it. Do not recommend. If there's anything you take away from this conversation, please apply to more than one scholarship and grant before you go to school, because there's so much money out there that just goes unused because people aren't applying, people get too busy, people are lazy. I'm self-aware. I was lazy. I did not apply to as many scholarships as I should have. And that's something that I do wish that I could have done differently. Yeah. But I will say, if you do get to a point where, you may not have been able to apply for as many scholarships as you wanted to, or ideally could have, there are opportunities when you're at school to get money as you go, right? So for me, I didn't get any scholarships from Howard. My SAT scores weren't there. My ACT scores weren't there. But I had a really good GPA. And that's something that I think people can probably relate to. Like, I'm just not a good standardized test taker or test taker in general, but I'm good at school. I'm good at like projects and essays and that kind of thing. So it didn't, I felt like I don't even want to say intelligence, but I felt like that all of my hard work was being completely disregarded, and the SAT was all that mattered, and that's how you got into school, that's how you got money. And I just wasn't there. I could not do it. So with that, sophomore year, I actually, because I had good grades in school, I was able to get those academic scholarships while I was in school. And actually my senior year of college, once my aunt's money had run out, once all of those things, like senior year, I actually got a full academic scholarship for my GPA in the School of Communications at Howard. That was really, really helpful and a relief, because, I was getting ready to also at that time I was doing unpaid internships. So money was helpful, and that was really great. So if you don't happen to land any scholarships or grants before college, all hope is not lost. Continue to work hard and do well in school, and the money will come.
Yeah, you made so many points in that statement. Like, what really sticks out to me is like, number one, a lot of students don't know this. Your parents do have to fill out some part of the FAFSA. So don't think you don't have to talk to your mom and dad throughout the whole process. Like you definitely need your parents doing the FAFSA. So please keep that in mind. That's one thing I want to point out that you said that's super important. Number two, scholarships are there for you to apply for them, right? It is so important for you to think about the scholarships that you're looking for and to start early in the scholarship search process. Think about it. The more scholarships you apply to, the higher chance you'll most likely win, instead of you just applying to one, banking on that one. So make sure to apply to as many scholarships as you can. The third thing that you said that was like super important to me was like colleges care about they care about the whole student, right? If your SAT might not be that strong, they care about your GPA. Like, think about these things. They care about you as a whole student outside of just like one test, right? The test is important. I'm not gonna de-stress that, but that is an important thing. But colleges care about you as a person, as a whole being. So that's such a great point for you to make. And obviously, you always speak facts, and that was nothing but facts that what you just said. So another thing I want to ask you about is, you know, we might have a couple of seniors that are on this call right now, right? They might be getting their acceptance letters. Like what, for the students who are thinking about attending school in the fall, how did you make your decision? You already talked about going to Howard, but like what made you say, this is it? Like what made you feel it in your spirit that this is it? You've talked about, you know, your mom went there, but talk about like the process of deciding this is where I'm going to spend the next 4 years.
I think, I know a lot of people in terms of like what actual career they want to actually pursue. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it comes really early in your college search, and sometimes it doesn't come till you're halfway through college where you figure out what exactly you want to do with your life. But I think for me, junior and senior year of high school is when I really got very, very interested in media, and any projects that I was doing, I was making like a documentary or doing some kind of film project or like something performative in that way, and something to use my creative skills. And I realized that like, okay, so whatever college I go to, I definitely want to make sure they have a good, strong communications program. Like that's something that I was really focused on because I knew that that's kind of where my passion sort of like lied at that time. So Howard had a school of communications, and my mom was like, well, you should apply, because with a lot of schools, you can apply just like to liberal arts, like generally, or you can apply to a particular school or a particular focus. And so my mom, she encouraged me to apply directly to the School of Communications versus transferring into it when I got there, because I already was like very set on what I wanted to do. And that particular school just really impressed me. The people that came out of it, like all of the different, just like the studios, and that Howard had a radio station. Like they just had all of these things where I was like, oh wow, like I could really get my feet wet in media at Howard, you know, and it's also being in DC. So I think the location, I think being accepted into my actual, you know, school of choice within Howard was a deciding factor. And then also, again, my mom was like, well, all the pieces are here. I don't know what you're still questioning.
Yeah.
Like, you're right.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I love the way you talk about career.
Yeah, I think DC too, in general, was just a place where it wasn't too far from home, but it was far enough. And I think that was a very beneficial thing, because I was ready to go, but I wasn't ready to be that far, which definitely ended up being beneficial for me in college, because I did have, like, this is kind of off topic, but not really. I did have like a health situation in college where my parents did have to jump in the car and drive, you know, to the hospital. And I know that they were very happy and very relieved that they could get to me quickly in that way. So I think that, but they weren't doing it all the time because it was a 2-hour drive. So
yeah. No, I went to college far away enough from home, but close enough that when it's sad to say, like the day I got sick, my mom literally rolled up after my first class and was like, we're taking you home. So thinking about that, like kids, a lot of students don't think about that. Like, what happens if you're having a really bad day and you just like want a hug from your mom? Like, can you get on a bus to just go see your mom or something? I mean, I those are the things that a lot of students don't think about, but it's a great thing to think about when you're thinking about college. And also the fact that you said the careers, right? The careers that were at that school and the kind of people that were going into, that were coming out, the alumni connections. So we have this is going to be the last question because I want to be mindful of your time as well. So last time you were here, we talked about your college playlist, right? So today, with the students on this call, I want to talk about what were your 3 must-haves in college, right? Talk about your must-haves. As students are thinking about colleges, what was yours when you were thinking about going to Howard? Your 3 must-haves, and then you can roll out into the sun.
Oh my gosh, Queen Star, you're putting me on the spot. I'm about to be like, this girl is a bird. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So number 1, the first song that comes to my mind is No Hands by Wale and Waka Flocka and Roscoe Dash. I think all three of them.
That was a song in college when I was there. Yes.
Chef's Kiss.
Chef's Kiss. You couldn't leave a party unless we played.
Another one is probably Lemonade by Gucci Mane. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And then number 3, I'm gonna take a little small turn and say "We Found Love" by Rihanna. That was
a good one. That was a good one. In college. You just took me back to a place. You just took me back to a place. And so I'm going to ask last question, point B. That was point A, point B. So now you're at college. What were the 3 things you needed your first semester of college, or maybe your first year of college, that you didn't think you needed, right? So didn't you think about that you needed that ended up being very instrumental?
It's interesting. So the first thing is not tangible. The thing that I'm gonna say that I think really set it off for me was confidence. So a lot of times, and I will say this, I feel like everyone goes to college and feels this way, but a lot of us were like, when you're in high school, depending on who you are and depending on your crowd and your vibe, I know for me personally, I was like, I wouldn't say I was popular, but I definitely, was known. I had a lot of friends. I was like good in my classes. Like I was doing very well. Mm-hmm. But then when you go to college, you realize that everyone else was that person at their high school. Yeah. And so when you go, you're like, wait, everybody is like up here. Like everyone is like on fire. Everyone was a popular one. Everyone was in the middle of the dance circles dancing. I was like, wait, am I lame now? No.
No, it really be like that. It really is like that.
So I think it's confidence. I think being self-aware that like this is what you're walking into in college, but then also reminding yourself of who you are and making sure that you don't feel intimidated and just more so lean in to those people and those friendships and like try to make it, because it's going to be your new norm for the next 4 years. So I think having that confidence is something that I thought I was confident when I went to college. And then I got there and it kind of went away, but it came back. So confidence is something that I didn't think I needed, but I did. I would say another thing would be ramen noodles.
Okay, yes. You will be hungry, okay, and be broke. So that comes in handy, yeah.
Hungry and broke, yes, exactly. Ramen noodles. And then I would say, I actually, when I went there, I didn't really, not that I was not going to be friends with my like high school friends anymore, but I don't know if I necessarily thought that I needed them still because I was meeting new people and was making new friendships, but I did still really need them. Like they were still a source of support when I was feeling down. They were still a source of, we had the group chats. Like they were still very much a part of my life. Yeah. Not that I thought that they wouldn't be, but I just didn't think I would need them as much as I did, especially that first semester when I was feeling a little lost. Yeah. So I would say and those old friendships are all the things that I needed that I didn't realize I did.
Yes. Well, Freddie, as always, we love having you here. Your positivity, your Black girl magic in the flesh, it always makes us feel so confident in what we can do, no pun intended, but makes us feel confident in thinking about what the next chapter of our lives looks like, and the students as well, to be able to see a strong, successful Black woman standing in her own light. We always appreciate you coming here to Real Talk and providing us with so much advice. So thank you so much, Freddie. We really appreciate your time. And I know you can't hear them, but here is an applause for you for your time today. So thank you so much, Freddie. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you to the College Board and Real Talk. And thanks to everyone for sitting and listening. You're so sweet. The best of luck. The best of luck to all the students who are heading to college. Like, it's going to be great. And times are weird, but it's still going to be great.
Yay. Thank you, Freddie. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. See, I told y'all, Freddie is that girl. She knows, she has the advice. She has just the light. And we love having her as part of the Real Talk family. So you got to see what we saw last fall. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about the campuses that are going to present today. So, but before I even forget, let me recap what Freddie said, just in case some people came late. Confidence, definitely get the ramen noodles, and don't forget your support system. Your family, your friends back home are going to help you and support you in your next chapter. So make sure you do not forget them as you're thinking about going to college. All right, so now let's talk more about the 8 amazing HBCUs that we have today. You know, it's custom for me to do a roll call of these schools. So let's get started. Up first, we have the illustrious Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama, where, cool fact, they have a partnership with NASA. So if you're thinking about going to space, Alabama A&M University, make sure you check them out. The incomparable Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I love this. Their campus motto is, "The world needs visionaries." Okay, Claflin, we see you. And now we're going to make our way to sunny Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, where the Rattlers reign supreme. Of course, we have the historic Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, known for its notable alumni such as Thurgood Marshall and the first president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. We roll back down to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina, where you'll find 110 years of innovation and excellence on the campus. And then we're going to make our way down to the Atlanta University Center, where you'll find the historic Morehouse College and Spelman College. Last but not least, we're going to go down to Louisiana with Southern University, known for their internationally renowned marching band, the Human Jukebox. So each rep from these campuses will have about 3 to 4 minutes to give you an overview of their campus. Make sure you stay with us. Even if you already heard the school you came for, make sure you stay with us until the end, because that is where we will have Q&A and answer all of your questions. So keep adding questions to the chat box. Let us know if it's for a specific school or if it's a general questions, right? Just remember, this is just night 1. We have night 2 tomorrow, where we'll have schools like Howard and North Carolina A&T and a whole host of others joining us as well. So first up today, we have Alabama A&M. Carrie, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, Carrie. Turning it over to you.
Well, they usually say the best for last, but after this, you guys can log off. I'm kidding. My name's Carrie. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Alabama A&M University. We are in Huntsville, Alabama. Queen Star mentioned our partnership with NASA. There are over 200 engineering firms in our city, so we're very well known for our STEM areas. We're number 3 in the state for reducing African Americans with STEM degrees. Didn't know if the slides were coming, but right now for the fall 2021, we are test optional. So students with 2.0s or higher can be admitted. For scholarships, we do require a test score. So if you have questions about that, I'd be more than happy to answer. We have over 50 degree programs in 4 academic colleges: the College of Agricultural, Life, and Natural Sciences, the College of Business and Public Affairs, the College of Education, Humanities, and Behavioral Sciences, and the College of Engineering. Please. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we are. Quick facts. All right, we do have a 808-acre campus. We do have transportation on our campus for students. Freshmen have to stay on campus, and freshmen can have cars. So that's a couple of questions that are common questions. We're Division I in our athletics. Our student to faculty ratio is 14-1. And like I said, we are test optional, and we'd love to have more conversation with you about Alabama A&M University. I'll be around for questions and answers at the end. And again, thank you for listening to Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama.
Thank you so much, Carrie. As I said, Alabama A&M, if you're trying to go to space, you know where to find them, okay? All right, so up next, we have Claflin. Miss Paula Payton, you're up next.
Hello. And just like Queen said, Claflin University is looking for those visionaries because that's what the world needs. But here at Claflin University, it's like a storybook here. It is a perfect campus, the best HBCU in South Carolina. We are ranked in the top 10. So let me give you a little history about Claflin University. We are the oldest historically Black college in South Carolina, founded in 1869. We were founded by Lee Claflin, who was a white minister, United Methodist minister in Boston, came down and opened this up because what was going on in those days was just such an atrocity to him. So therefore, this is how Claflin University got here. Now, let me give you some, like the students say, facts. So those facts are, we are in Orangeburg, South Carolina. We have a student-teacher ratio of 16-1, but to get admitted into Claflin University, what you need to have is here it goes, 900 on your SAT score. You want to have at least an 18 for your ACT and a GPA of a 3.0. So therefore, we're making it good for you to get into Claflin, and we also have scholarships that follow behind those. We have the Honors College Scholarship. The Honors College Scholarship also falls with the Presidential Scholarship. For the Presidential Scholarship, you want to have at least a 1,200 and an ACT score of a 27. Guess what that gets you, people? It gets you into college for free. You pay for absolutely nothing, and you get a $125 stipend to live. Then there is the Academic Incentive Award. That scholarship goes up to $7,500. And to get that scholarship, you'll need a GPA of a 3.0. Also a score of a 900 and also an ACT score of a 2,100. And let me go back to that Honors College Scholarship. The GPA for that is a 3.5 and over. So I just wanted to make that clear. Also, if you're United Methodist, since we're affiliated with the United Methodist Church, there's a $500 scholarship waiting for you there as well. We also have those UNCF scholarships, and as a freshman, you can apply every day. So therefore, like Queen said again, where the money resides, that's what you want to look for. And Claflin University is here for you. And we're looking for those students who have the passion and the integrity and the willingness to work, to have an innate capacity to become a visionary. So thank you for tuning in to Claflin University. And it's going back to Queen. Thank you.
Hi, Miss Paula. You had me at free. Okay, you had me at free. Claflin University. I love to hear, and I love to see it. All right. So up next, we are going to make our way down to Florida. Mr. Les, are you ready?
Hey, I was born ready, just like Rattlers.
Okay, turning it over to you.
Ms. Queen Star, thank you so much, dear. My name is Les Ferrier, and I'm representing FAMU tonight, and I serve as Assistant Vice President for Enrollment management down here in the state capital, Tallahassee. And you've got the informative slide, but I want to keep it real tonight. You know, that's the theme. And I want to tell you about some real cool stuff that probably won't be on that slide. Let me get started with some history. Back in the late 1800s, Thomas Gibbs and Jonathan Gibbs, father-son team, were active in Florida politics. You say late 1800s, Black folks actually had rights after the Civil War, believe it or not. It only lasted for a short till Jim Crow set in. But these guys were so smart, they started a college, okay? State Normal College for colored students, okay? In Jacksonville, Florida. They knew that they weren't going to be able to make these decisions to help us. So they got the job done. We moved to Tallahassee a few years later and became a land grant institution. Now, of course, they weren't going to give Black folks good land. The land was infested with rattlesnakes. You see this right here? But what do good rattlers do? We took lemons and made lemonade, all right? That became our mascot, okay? Now, where are we today in the 21st century? You know, we've come a long way from that ravaged land full of rattlesnakes. We're a thriving campus, vibrant, of about 10,000 students, 10,000 rattlers. U.S. News and World Report ranks us for the past 2 years, top public HBCU in the whole country, okay? No school or college university in the country has graduated as many African Americans as we have, okay? Let's talk a little bit about that. What does that mean? Who are some of our notable alums? John Thompson, Microsoft chairperson. You heard of Microsoft, that little company that Bill Gates owns. Sure, that's everything he knows to school, business, and industry. We got Ms. Keisha Lance Bottoms, current mayor of Atlanta. We've got Mr. Will Packer, filmmaker extraordinaire, okay? But what do these alum do? They've set the stage for you. Remember, we've got 80,000 living alum. They're in influential places, okay? Get to know an alum because they can help you. You know what they do? They fund thousands of dollars in scholarships. They have going away parties. They have coming home parties. You know, they hire people. But when companies and medical schools and graduate schools, when they hear that FAMU name, they come running because they know that success is right there. Let's talk about some majors and careers. 14 different colleges and schools, 8 of them in STEM. You can become just about anything you want to be. We can get you started on a successful career, whether it's a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer or a respiratory therapist, right? How about a pharmacist? This is one of our top programs, but let me tell you something you probably didn't know about this College of Pharmacy. About a year ago, first research organization to 3D print a cornea. You know that little piece of your eye that you can't see without? You know the coolest thing about it? Students got to take part in that research. First in the country, second in the world. We think that's going to eliminate animals from the testing of medical products. You know, we have got patents on grapes. We've got a viticulture. We grow our own grapes. We drink the wine, but it's for those antioxidants. Let's talk about campus life a little bit. All right. Great facilities, you know, on campus sports facilities. We've got great residence halls. We got living learning communities where you're surrounded by students that are going to be in the same profession as you. That's a great way. That's like your student support network. SGA. Check this out, everybody. Believe this? We've put students in charge of millions of dollars. They manage their own budget for activities for you. We've got the Divine Nine. We've got the sororities and fraternities, and those are great. We've got great food options. You know, we got fried chicken Wednesdays, like a lot of the campuses and HBCUs do on campus. But you know, some great vibrant life. But I just want to tell you a short story of why did a young lady choose FAMU? A lot of this is quantitative kind of stuff. But you know what she did? She followed her gut. She got off the tour bus with her students. She was on our campus on a beautiful day. Everyone was being so nice to her, the students, even though they were newbies. You know what she told me? She said she felt like she was in Wakanda. That's a true story. You know, the mythical city in Black Panther. She was just surrounded by love and people that looked like her, and she was just ready to sign up. She's a student now. So if I can help you, please contact me, and I'd love to help you become a rapper. Thank you so much.
Mr. Last, I have got to say, every single person that I have met from FAMU reps the Rattler pride. They rep it hard. And it is such a great institution. And I think you did such a great job selling the school, because I have yet to meet a Rattler who wasn't, they just embody so much pride in their school. So thank you so much for presenting about
we strike from
Florida A&M.
From the top, Miss Queen Star.
For sure. Thank you so much. All right. Now we're heading off to Pennsylvania. Miss Shanice, are you ready? Lincoln University.
I am.
Hi,
Good
Shanice. Turn it
afternoon.
over to you. Your hair is looking good. The makeup is nice. You're looking great.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shanice Pereira. I serve as the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Lincoln University and a proud class of 2016 graduates of Lincoln. So to tell you just a little bit about my alma mater, like we said, we are in Pennsylvania, about less than an hour from Philadelphia, about an hour from Baltimore, Maryland, 2 hours from Washington, D.C. So really near some hot cities surrounding our campus. We are proud to be a top 20 HBCU with currently having over 2,000 students on our campus. So we are a smaller institution, but what that means is that we are a family, and that is truly my favorite part about the Lincoln experience. Everyone feels like they belong. Everybody knows everybody, and it's in such a great way that when you're walking on campus, you see familiar faces, whether they are your classmates, professors, staff that work in the cafeteria. It truly is just an amazing family to be a part of on our campus. So at Lincoln, we offer over 30 different academic majors and minors, and that ranges from programs like biology, chemistry. Maybe you're interested in pre-law, mass communications, that was my major, psychology, sociology, so much that we have to offer with the average classroom size of about 20 students. Now, when I was in college, it was very important to me to have small classroom sizes because when I came to class, I wanted my professor to know who I was. I wanted them to know my name. If I was missing from class, you needed to notice that I wasn't there, okay? Because what that allows for you to do is build a relationship with your professors. So when you have questions, you can go to them. When you're looking for internships, they can help you write letters of recommendation, help you find internships, jobs after graduation. So it really helps you to start building your network when you can build those relationships with your professors. At Lincoln University, aside from what you learn in the classroom, we have what we call co-curricular opportunities, right? So that allows for our students to not just learn inside the classroom, but our students walk away with having internship experience. We offer an Office of Career Services that helps our students find jobs before they graduate, or even after you graduated, you can still utilize these services. Study abroad opportunities, community service, counseling services, and so much more, right? And why? It's because we've learned that it's not just about what you learn inside the classroom. These 4 years that you'll spend in college are really about developing you as a full person, making sure that you have all the experiences that you need so that you can go out to the workforce and be competitive and get the job that you want to get. You can go to medical school, go on to go to law school, whatever it is that next step that you're looking to do. Our goal as a university is to make sure that you have everything you need and that you have no excuses in order to become that. So a little bit as far as like admission to the university. One, Lincoln University offers a free online application for admission. You do not have to apply. So our goal is to make sure that we have no barriers for our students applying to the university. So free online application. Our average student that is accepted to Lincoln has about a 3.0 GPA, about a 940 on the SAT, 18 on the ACT. That's the average. So of course, some students are above that and some students may fall a little below, and that's fine. We take students from where they are and get them to where they need to be at Lincoln University. Once you're enrolled into the university, we were talking about where the money resides earlier. That's an important part for us as well, right? And with that, Lincoln University offers a tuition freeze, meaning that whatever tuition rate you come in paying your freshman year, you will pay that all 4 years. What you may or may not know is that tuition typically increases at a lot of other colleges and universities. So us offering a tuition freeze allows for our students and their families to really plan ahead for the next 4 years to ensure that they can, afford to stay at the university. With that being said, over 90% of Lincoln students receive some type of financial aid. We offer amazing scholarships, whether they be merit-based scholarships, partial scholarships, performance scholarships. So if you are interested in athletics, the marching band, concert choir, there are different ways that you can get funding from the university to help you pay for college. So that's something that's important to us as well. So that is a little bit about Lincoln. There is so much more that I could share. But if you are interested, you can visit us online at lincoln.edu. I look forward to talking more with you guys.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love that. As a proud citizen of Ghana, West Africa, I love that. The first president of Ghana went to Lincoln University, so it holds a special place in my heart. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So now we're going to head over to North Carolina Central. Brandon, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandon Bird. I'm the admissions counselor here at North Carolina Central University. Here at NCCU, we were founded in 1910 by Dr. James E. Shepherd. He was a pharmacist as well as a religious educator whose intent when he founded the institution was to provide young women and men with character and sound academic training for real service to a nation. Our motto here at NCCU that we adopted after Dr. Shepherd is truth and service. And upon graduating from here, all students are required to complete 120 hours of volunteer service. So that way we're staying in line with Dr. Shepherd's goals. And pretty much that equates to about 15 hours per semester. Now, our campus is settled on 135 acres, and you'll often hear it referred to as the verdant greens and sloping hills. We have currently 8,078 students on campus, and we're considered a medium to large size HBCU. Now, the average class size here at NCCU is about 23 per classroom, and we offer 81-degree programs with 146-degree concentrations. Now, the student to faculty ratio at NCCU is actually 16-1. So what that means for you students, you will receive an at-home personalized learning experience. And often students say they leave with an extension of a godmother or godfather because the faculty and staff here at NCCU are truly devoted and care to see the students succeed. Now, some of our top majors here would include business administration, nursing, criminal justice, psychology, and biomedical sciences. We are the only school in the University of North Carolina school system to actually offer the biology and biomedical sciences, which offers concentrations in pre-med and pre-dentistry. Now, we are waiving test scores for all 2021 terms. And again, we will be waiving test scores for all of our scholarships as well. We currently have our Chancellor Merit Scholarships, which are pretty much broken down into 3-tier, and any student who ranges between a 3.3 GPA and a 3.75 GPA will be allowed anywhere between $2,500 to $7,500 per academic year, which of course that is broken up by semester. We are a rolling admissions institution, meaning we will accept your application anytime throughout the academic year, but our priority deadlines for our freshmen are between October 15th and January 15th, and the regular deadline is July 31st. Now, more fun facts about NCCU, we do offer unique opportunities such as our engineering partnerships. We have a 3+2 dual program, which allows students to complete 3 years here at NCCU and obtain their physics degree, and complete 2 years obtaining their electrical engineering degree, which at one of our partner schools, which consists of Duke University, North Carolina State University, and Georgia Tech. We also offer our study abroad program hosted by the Office of International Affairs, which they also have a passport office on campus. And then over the years, students have traveled to 40 countries such as Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Morocco, Australia, South Korea, and so on and so forth. Now, we do offer our Bright and BBRI research facilities, and pretty much these house our cancer and neuroscience research facilities and allow students to gain access to cutting-edge research technology. Now, that is key to where we're at here in Durham, North Carolina. We're located in the heart of the RTP, also known as the Research Triangle Park. So research facilities do come out to campuses, do come out to campus rather, for recruiting engagements, for post-job opportunities, as well as internships as well. Now, the requirements are fairly simple. We ask that you have a minimum of a 2.5 GPA. The application fee here at NCCU is about $50. We ask that you have your mandatory course requirements, and they are that you have 4 courses of English, 4 courses of math, and one of those being higher than Algebra 2, 3 courses of science, and one of those serving as a lab science such as biology or chemistry, 2 units of history, and one of those either being U.S. or world history, and lastly, 2 consecutive units of the same foreign language. So you're thinking Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. Now, if you have any more questions or inquiries regarding NCCU, I'd be more than happy to drop my contact information here in the chat for you as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you so much. And you're good. As he said, that he has, if you have any questions, we're going to have Q&A period after this is over. So thank you so much for that, Brandon. Now we're going to turn it over to Morehouse. Michael, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, Michael. Turn it over to you. Thank you again for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I learned at Morehouse. I'm super excited to be with you all today. I learned a long time ago that the tragedy lies not in reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach for. Not failure, but low aim is sin. Morehouse is an amazing institution that prides itself on excellence, on leadership, and Black male success. The components of the college that make us special is that we are the only historically Black college university that has leadership and has a propensity to push for African American males to do extremely and exceedingly well. With that, as an overall institution, we have amazing programs such as business and engineering. We have a C-TENS program, which is cinema, television, and emerging media studies. That program is extremely great. We also have an amazing criminal justice program for those who are interested in criminal justice and sociology. We also, the way we set ourselves apart is that we believe in the ideals of leadership. And so for us, we can look at a Martin Luther King Jr. or a Samuel L. Jackson or a Spike Lee or a Julian Bond, and we know that we have something to offer. Other aspects of it, too, is that it's about the product, right? And so for us, having those connections and having over 17,500 living alumni, right? Having the opportunity to have guys that make up about 2,300 total students with over 75 clubs and organizations on campus. It's live every day. We're located in the city of Atlanta, and so having that opportunity to be in the city is just remarkable. On top of that, we're a part of the Atlanta University Center, also known as the Atlanta University Consortium, comprised of Spelman College, Clark Atlanta University, of course, dear old Morehouse College, Morris Brown College, and other institutions. The beauty of that is you have the opportunity to cross-register. So I could be a student at Morehouse and take classes at Spelman or take classes at Clark absolutely free. And that opportunity actually extends itself to the other Georgia school systems as well. So there's just a lot that the AUC offers. There's a lot that Morehouse offers in terms of building success. Some of the tidbits I want to leave with you is this. Morehouse has the 5 wells, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Morehouse man is well-read, well-spoken, well-balanced, well-traveled, and well-dressed. So I ask you all to try your best and to strive for excellence. What does it take to get into Morehouse? Your very best. Apply with what you know. Give it your all. And I will see you as we look to build more men to be great leaders, like a Cedric Richmond, like a Jay Johnson, right? And so when we talk about leaders, we know what Morehouse is able to do. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you all further.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. That was amazing. I love hearing about the wells, what a Morehouse man is. It's always great to hear more about Morehouse. All right. So right next to Morehouse, we're going to pass it over to Spelman. Spelman, are you ready?
I am. Thank you so much. So good evening, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are. Greetings. My name is Nayada Schuler, Assistant Director of Admissions at Spelman College, as well as the admissions counselor for students from the Southeast, from the West Coast. And I also serve as a social media manager for the Office of Admissions. So I have a lot to share in a small amount of time, so I'll try to do my best. But just in general, Spelman College, we were founded in 1881, so April 11th, 1881, by Sophia B. Packard and Harriet E. Giles, 2 missionaries from the state of Massachusetts. And when they came to Georgia in the 1800s, during their Southern pilgrimage, they really saw a need for creating or developing an educational space specifically for women and women of color. And so we now have Spelman College. So Spelman College is a global leader in the education of women of African descent, along with recognitions as a top women's college. We are also recognized among the nation's top liberal arts institutions and ranked as the #1 HBCU 14 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. So as my colleague Michael mentioned, Spelman College is a part of the AUC, the Atlanta University Center, and we are about 10 minutes away from downtown Atlanta. So Atlanta is known as not only a city that is top ranked for young professionals and college students, but Atlanta has a very vibrant art and culture scene, as well as lots of global opportunities for students in for the citizens that live in Atlanta as well. In addition, Spelman College has a student body of approximately 2,100 students from 42 states and 18 foreign countries. And as a small campus community, our students have access to a 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of 23 students. So in terms of Spelman academics, so what we have to offer, we offer over 34 majors and minors and many more avenues of study. So students can study at 20 other colleges and universities within the city of Atlanta through the Atlanta Regional Council for Higher Education. In addition, they can cross-register within the AUC. So they can take classes at Morehouse. They can also take classes at Clark Atlanta University as well. We offer programs ranging from the arts to the humanities, social sciences, mathematics, and the sciences as well. However, our top 5 majors this year include biology, economics, psychology, political science, and English as well. So in terms of student life, we're a very active campus community. That's the best way to describe us. Very vibrant and active campus community with over 85 active registered student organizations on campus, ranging from professional, cultural, and spiritual development, community service, personal interests. Additionally, Spelman students can participate in a wide range of activities in conjunction with Morehouse College and Clark Atlanta University as well. In fact, for those who may not know, Spelman and Morehouse share a homecoming every year. It's known as the Spellhouse Homecoming as well. So in terms of the admissions process, in general, at Spelman, we do take a holistic approach to the review process. While we do not have a minimum GPA or minimum test scores for admissions consideration, we do report our average profile of our admitted students just to guide our applicants. So the average GPA for fall 2020, the average admitted student GPA was about a 3.77 weighted GPA. The average SAT was an 1182. The average ACT was a 24 composite. We are on the Common Application and therefore administer all applications through the Common App as well. In addition, this application cycle, Spelman has implemented a test optional policy. Therefore, students applying for the fall 2021 enrollment term have not been required to submit standardized test scores for our consideration as well. So I do want to also note, I know I'm coming up on time, I do want to note that when it comes to the Spelman experience, we like to say that Spelman women are leaders. They're women of influence, innovators, and problem solvers. In fact, Spelman was ranked 7th in the nation among the top schools for activists. And so our students not only want to make a change, but they truly believe that change is possible. And that is reflected in our list of amazing alumni, including Miss Stacey Abrams herself, a mover and shaker in the political landscape. We like to say that she sprinkled a little Black girl magic on the November 2020 elections. We also have Rosalind Gates Brewer, a leader in the corporate world, and she is actually the new CEO of Walgreens Boots Alliance and the only Black woman CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And then we have Miss Keisha Knight Pulliam, and she is also an actress, philanthropist, change agent, and the CEO of a nonprofit organization as well. So I am excited to connect with each of you virtually and look forward to any questions that you may have for me about the Spelman College experience.
Nayada, thank you so much for that. First of all, Spelman is pulling their receipts. They're going to let you know that it is just Black girl magic running through their alumni. So that is so awesome to hear. And also, something we found out during the last Real Talk was that Spelman has special showers, right? Just for Black girl hair, I found out. And that was like the hit of our last Real Talk session, was that Spelman has special drains just for Black hair. I'm telling you, Spelman, y'all come correct. I will not lie. Spelman always comes correct. So thank you so much for sharing that, Nayada. Up next, last but not least, we have Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Elise Shelton. And I'm an admissions recruiter here with Southern University and Agricultural and Mechanical College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we imagine you at Southern U. So I'm going to start you guys off with a few fun facts. We are the largest HBCU in Louisiana, and our mascot is the Mighty Fighting Jaguar. And also we're a part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference in Division I. And also, we are most known for our awesome human jukebox, which was established in 1947. We were also founded in 1880 in New Orleans, Louisiana, with just 12 students, but later relocated to Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 1914. We have 13 student residential halls and over 60 undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degree programs. Also, we have over 100 active student organizations. So if you're worried about fitting in and finding something for you, we for sure have that at Southern University. Also, we are the only HBCU land grant university in Louisiana. So, and also, we are one of the only HBCU systems in the United States. So let me kind of explain what that means. So we have 5 campuses that composes Southern University. And we have the main campus, which is in Baton Rouge. And we also have our Law Center, which is in Baton Rouge. And we also have our Agricultural Research and Extension Center in Baton Rouge. So that's all hosted on the same campus. And also we have a campus in Shreveport, Louisiana called SUSLA, and a campus in New Orleans, Louisiana called SUNO. Our recruitment staff is composed of 3 of us, myself, Mr. Smith, Mr. Young. We all graduated from Southern. I myself graduated in mass communications. I'm going to tell you guys a bit about the dorms. They are air conditioned with a suite concept, and they have a private living area with a bath. We have microwaves and refrigerator units, and also laundry facilities on each floor, as well as computer labs on each floor. And we also have internet connections in the rooms. Also, we have video surveillance and vending rooms for the dorms as well. So I just want to discuss with you guys briefly about some costs. The tuition cost for an in-state resident is $4,561, but for an out-of-state resident, it's $8,236. And the total per semester for an in-state resident is $8,125. And for an out-of-state resident is $11,800. So if you're worried about costs, we do offer scholarships. Our main 3 scholarships is the Joseph S. Clark Presidential Scholarship, the Jesse N. Stone Scholarship, and the President's Legacy Scholarship. And you must have at least a 2.7 GPA or above to qualify for all 3 of these scholarships, and a 23 composite on your ACT or 1130 on your SAT. Also, if you are out of state, we do offer an out-of-state fee waiver, and the criteria for that is a 2.5 cumulative GPA on your final academic high school transcript, and you must maintain that 2.5 GPA and at least 15 hours per semester. So if anyone has any questions, any comments, please feel free to comment them, and I will be happy to answer them on the question and answer period. Thank you guys so much for having me. Be safe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I love hearing about the school. And of course, we love hearing from our folks down in Louisiana. So now this is the question and answer time. As I said, this is the time where you get all of your questions answered. We want to hear from you. So if you don't know where the chat box is, this is the time to find it. Put your questions in there. We already have a lot of questions coming in. So I am going to get started. And this is how it's going to work. I'm going to either call on a couple of schools to answer the question or specific schools based on the questions that were asked. All right. So the first question, and I hear this question all of the time, and I think it's a great question for us to start with. I'm getting questions from parents and even from students about, is there diversity on HBCU campuses? Specifically, and this is a question from a parent, they want their student to be able to go into spaces where maybe not everyone looks like them, right? So I'm going to target this question to Ms. Payton and Mr. Les, so FAMU and Claflin. Talk about the diversity on HBCU campuses. So I'm going to let Ms. Payton go first, and then we're going to go over to Mr. Les from FAMU to talk about is there diversity on HBCU campuses? Are Black people a monolith? And talk a little bit about that. So turning it over to you, Miss Paula.
Okay, well, yes, Claflin University definitely is a diverse campus, very much so. We have people from China. We have people from all over the country. We've had people come in from Spain. We have people from Jamaica, of course, Africa, and you're like, well, they're Black, but they're international. We have an international diversity. Therefore, when our students are in any way, in any form or fashion, anywhere, they have no problem in sitting in the front seat of that classroom because of all of the experiences that they have here at Claflin University. They can go anywhere. Like the kids say, they can code switch. They can do anything because of the diversity at the university here at Claflin. Now, I'm going to speak as well for all HBCUs. I graduated from Tuskegee University, and we definitely had a diverse campus. I can talk to anyone, and I don't feel any shame. I feel my confidence level is always here. So when you have a diverse campus, it makes you feel confident that you can go anywhere and say and talk anything, especially if you've been educated at an HBCU. So therefore, that's my answer to that question. But HBCUs are very diverse. We have so many different cultures, so many different personalities, so many different countries here on one campus. And that's what makes studying abroad so available. So therefore, that is the question, the answer to that question.
Perfect. So I'm going to pass it over to FAMU. Mr. Less, anything about HBCU diversity?
Ms. Paula, that's hard to follow up, dear. You did such an awesome job, but the question from the parents, that was an awesome question, because you want your child to be able to operate in any sort of atmosphere. But let me tell you, the HBCU moniker, that was the only place that we could go back in the day. But now it's different. But we still keep that classification. But I'll tell you what, whether they're students, whether they're faculty, the athletes, the visual performing artists, the scientists, you're going to find people from every different race, culture, ethnicity on our campus from around the country and around the world. And why is that? Most of our students are Black, I'll admit that, but why do we have all these other races? Because they know we've got the goods. If you want to be a chemical engineer, you're going to go to the best place that you can go to. It's going to be regardless of race. And you'll find that. We've got faculty from all over the world, faculty from all different races. And it doesn't matter how what gender you consider yourself, what race. When you step foot on our campus, I guarantee you that you will feel welcome. And you can take our virtual tour, and you can see some things, and you can contact some people on the campus, and we can help you speak with some students. But it's going to be a diverse atmosphere and a diverse train of thought as well on the FAMU campus, as it would be on most of our campuses, I would say.
Absolutely. Great answers to the question. And just for also the parent who's on the call wondering about, what kind of schools or what kind of companies are recruiting out on these campuses. I'm going to say that I'm a person who obviously works at the College Board, but before this, I worked on Capitol Hill. I will say most of the folks who were working on Capitol Hill who looked like me were from HBCUs. So you're finding the upper echelon of government. You are finding HBCU grads there. I have friends who graduated from places like North Carolina A&T, with places like FAMU, who are working for the Googles, who are working for the Apples. So for the parents on this call, I want to dispel the myth about HBCUs not preparing students for college. I have been in federal government working for the highest leaders in federal government, and most of those people are HBCU grads. The people who were working, who are mayors of this country, are HBCU grads. So we should not be nervous about going to HBCUs. They are not second-class institutions. They are first-class institutions where students are going to get a great education. So, and also, Black people are not a monolith. As both of these admissions reps said, there's so much diversity in being Black, and HBCUs are preparing students for the future. All right. So I have, just pivoting a little bit, I have folks who are asking specific questions about SAT, right? This is a time where a lot of students were not able to take standardized testing. So I'm going to pass this over to maybe Lincoln and Alabama A&M, hopefully, actually Lincoln and Morehouse to talk about SAT. Alabama A&M, I'm going to come to you in just a second for the next question, but talk about the SAT and being test optional this year. If students can't take the SAT, what is the process like for you? So I'm going to give it to Lincoln University and Morehouse. So Lincoln first.
Yeah, thank you. So Lincoln University does have a test waiver option this year for students that were not able to take the SAT or ACT. So when completing their online application, they would just need to indicate that they would like to apply with the test waiver option. And then from there, they will just need to answer a few questions to tell us a little bit more about themselves in lieu of not having SAT or ACT test scores. So if you don't have scores and you're still a senior looking to apply to colleges or universities, you can apply to Lincoln.
Absolutely, and I'm in agreement with that. The ACT and SAT, those tests were real major breakers for scholarship potential and everything for a lot of our institutions. And what we didn't want to do was penalize students for not having the opportunity to take the exams. And so a lot of our institutions have looked at other resources or measures to identify students for scholarships. So I know specifically for Morehouse, we actually admitted students outside of having test scores, and some of those students were able to receive our half tuition and partial tuition scholarships. So for us, we just don't want it to be an issue for students to not be able to test or be able to have their acceptances not normally, rendered because of the fact that they weren't able to get to an exam. I know that was a big issue in the California area. That's a big issue in parts of New York, and we take that into full consideration. And so we don't want to penalize the students. So that's really big for us. I know for us, we went test optional for this year, academic year 2020, 2021. There might be a chance we might go test optional for the following year, but we're waiting to kind of see how the pandemic unfolds.
Great. Thank you so much for answering those questions. Another question that we have, Alabama A&M and Southern University, a lot of students are asking about specific extracurriculars, specifically like band. For students who are in these extracurricular activities like band or maybe athletics, can you talk a little bit about what the process is like for joining these type of extracurricular activities? Because I know you guys have amazing marching bands. So I figured Alabama A&M and Southern University could talk about this. So let's start off with Southern and then move over to Alabama A&M.
Thank you so much, Queen Star. I was going to start actually because we have the better band, of course. But
no shade, no shade.
Due to COVID, everything is virtual. So I foresee it being like this for a while, honestly, but they do post their tryout dates. Everything is on Zoom from what I'm hearing, and you just try out from there. And I know you kind of mentioned like how to go about with being a regular student and an athlete and a band student. So what I can say about our athletic program and our band program, that they do put your academics first. No matter what you are involved in, you do have to set time apart to make sure that your studies are coming along, and you do have to, reach a certain GPA to even be a part of any of these groups. So they are very strict on that. But as far as tryouts and things like that, everything is virtual. Sorry, guys, but just be looking out, especially on our social media, SUBR_admissions, and we post tryout dates and Zoom links. So if you guys need that information, just feel free to email me or look at our social media. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And now I'm passing it over to Alabama A&M to talk a little bit about that, about extracurricular activities.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. So at Alabama A&M, much like Southern, I want to pause for a minute about the better band comment. Debatable. I want to say that, much like Southern, we are in the SWAC conference with Southern. Much like Southern, most of our activities as far as the band auditions are going to be virtual. You can find out that information at aamuband.com. And our athletics, although we're not athletic recruiters, we can definitely get you in front of the particular coaches of the sports that you're interested in. Just shoot me an email or shoot us an email, and we'll make that introduction to you and that coach. So the young lady from Southern did make a valid point about time management. Anything that you do, whether it be band, whether it be athletics, whether it be our ROTC programs or any of the extracurricular activities, Greek life, you have to set aside time for why you're really at college. You're there for the education, right? So you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward in the classroom, so that you get a return on your investment at the end of your graduation. You get the degree, the job opportunities, all of the things of the like. So you just want to make sure that you are managing your time correctly and putting the focus and the emphasis both on that athletic field or in that extracurricular, as well as in the classroom.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to give it to move over to Spelman College, because there are a lot of specific questions for Spelman. Specifically, what is the scholarship process for Spelman? That's the first question. And secondly, how do students find virtual tours on Spelman's campus, or for any school as well, moving forward, if they want to talk about how to find virtual tours of the school. So I'm going to allow Spelman to answer that. And then the next question, the school can also talk about their virtual tour process. So for Spelman, what is your virtual tour process? And secondly, what kind of supports do you provide for students with scholarships?
Okay, awesome. So just in general, I'll start with the virtual tour. I will note that time we do not have a virtual tour. We have one in the works. It's been a long time coming, but we are anticipating that virtual tour option will be available on our website within the next 2 months. In addition, I always encourage students to, of course, connect with us through our virtual information sessions, and we host those sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but even more so, connect with us on social media. We've hosted an Instagram Live campus tour back in September, and I anticipate that we will be hosting another one as well. So that's the answer to the question about virtual tours. I will also note, in terms of scholarships, Spelman, we do offer scholarships. However, they are limited upon entry. So we offer scholarships to new first-time students, and we do require that a student has at least a 3.8 GPA, weighted GPA for most of those scholarships. And your application to Spelman is what we look at for a potential scholarship. So when we tell you to brag on yourself, to be your best advocate in the application process, it's because we're not looking at your application just for admissions consideration. We are also considering you for merit scholarships. Really quickly, merit scholarships, we have about 140 of them, and they range from $50 scholarships up to our full ride scholarships. I will note that we have recently received in the past year we've developed about 4 or 5 different new merit scholarships as a result of funding and donations that we've received from corporations, from entrepreneurs as well. So I do want to note that we are continuously so grateful for the new scholarship funding that we've received. But for the majority of our scholarships, your application to Spelman is what we consider for a scholarship consideration.
Great. Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you talk about bragging on yourself. A lot of questions have been coming in about how can I stand out? One thing, and I'll let actually Ms. Payton talk about this, is like, what are schools looking for outside of just like your SAT score? Can you talk about like AP classes, extracurriculars? How do students stand out? So I'm going to pass it over to you, Ms. Paula.
Okay, well, definitely those classes do stand out to us. When you have those, AP courses and the IB courses, of course, those students stand out. But at the same time, that is not the only thing that we're looking for when it comes to your academics. We're looking for that whole student. We're looking for, a lot of times people don't know, but we're looking for the things that you did as a, oh my goodness, I can't believe I lost the word. It just went right out. But volunteer services, yes, that is the word I'm looking for. We look at how much you put into your community and what you did in your community. We look at you as a person, some of the things that you did in school, like if you were part of your writing club, things of that nature, the awards that you've won, things like that. Those are the things that we look at. So don't just think every college is looking only at your GPA and that standardized test score. We like to look at the whole student. Even for those students who probably are riding on that 2.6 cup, 2.5 or below, that doesn't mean you're not supposed to go to school. That doesn't mean you're not ready for college. That just means you need a little bit more help. You need improvement. That's all that means. And that is what we are here to do. So we do have bridge programs for those students as well who not quite at that 3.0 GPA, but they still have dreams and desires of going to school. Now, we are doing campus tours as well. We're only doing 2 tours a day. But other than that, we're getting back into getting people on campus, but we're being COVID-19 guidelines, and we're doing testing before we do those tours. Now, if you do not want to come on the campus, we do have a virtual tour set up for you. So if you go to claflin.edu and you get to that first page, the home page, you'll see the virtual tour right there. Just click on that link and you'll be at Claflin University. But nothing's better than coming in person. But just let me know first so that we can get you tested. But other than that, hopefully these times will be over because we want to get back to a sense of normalcy. But I think this might be it. But other than that, I hope I've answered your questions.
Absolutely. That is such a great answer. And I think I love the fact that you talk about, we care about what you're doing in your community. What is your impact in your community? I see a lot of students who talked about, maybe I slacked my junior year and I wasn't really great with my grades. Am I okay? You have to let schools really care about, I was working a part-time job and that's why maybe I didn't have a lot of time to study for school. Think about these things. They care about you as the whole student, not just your SAT or your ACT score. So it's really important that you, as the lady from Spelman said, you are your best advocate. You have to show your highlight reel. It's not just the numbers. It's literally everything that makes you you. What is your story? So thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Payton. I really appreciate that. And so we're going to turn it over to FAMU. Number one, how do students do a virtual tour at the school? But another thing I want FAMU to touch on is the career process. How do you prepare students for careers at FAMU? Like what type of companies are recruiting at the school? What type of fairs are at the school for careers, for students interested in careers? So passing it over to you.
Yeah. Why?
Ms. Queenstar, thank you so much. Again, first of all, we do have a nice 3D virtual tour set up. All you've got to do is go to famu.edu and click on admissions, and you'll find our virtual tour. And if there's any information that you actually need to speak with a human being about, you can contact me, and we can have our own personal Zoom session. I do that a lot. As far as career services, one of the things that we work on in most of the programs are interpersonal skills. You'd be surprised that students are smart and young students are interested, are good at this. But if you're on our campus, there may be no telling who you might run into. It could be a CEO, it could be a VP of a corporation, it could be a dean of a graduate school or a medical school. And you've got to have your elevator speech ready. You've got to know current events. You've got to know what's going on that industry, and you've got to be able to communicate with these grown people. whether it be corporations or medical schools. I recruit a lot of STEM students. I've sat in on medical school presentations from Duke University Medical School, Yale University, Baylor University Medical School. And again, they're coming because they have a relationship with us. Our School of Business and Industry, I'll give you a good example with them. We've got this bronze plaque, probably 20 by 20 inches tall. It's called the SBI Big Board. And every company on that square rectangle has to invest $100,000 in the school and in the students minimum. And you don't do that if you're not getting good people for internships and people who are interested in employability. So again, those 80,000 graduates have set the standard, and our name is out there, and that FAMU name means something in the academic and corporate community.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to put this on the screen right now, but this is the contact information for every single admissions rep on this call. So I'm going to allow students, we're still going to be doing question and answer, but I want to put this up here so you can screenshot it in case you have any additional questions. I know that there are a lot of questions we might not get to, so make sure you screenshot this slide right here, because this is how, maybe if we don't get to your question, you are able to contact them directly and get your questions answered. So I'm going to give folks a couple of more seconds to get that in, and then we're going to move on with the question and answer portion. So for students who are looking at colleges, specifically thinking about the affordability for college, I'm going to pass this over to Carrie at Alabama A&M. What is the scholarships process, especially because we know a lot of schools are looking at the SAT. If a student did not take the SAT, do they disqualify themselves from scholarships?
I'm glad you came back to me, because I feel like my presentation was a little fast earlier and didn't have a chance to talk about our scholarship opportunities. I think that we have some of the most generous and liberal scholarship opportunities amongst HBCUs and amongst colleges and institutions as a whole. We have a couple of different levels of opportunities for students. We have out-of-state tuition scholarships that will bring the out-of-state tuition to the in-state rate, so it cuts the cost of tuition in half for our out-of-state students. It requires that they maintain a 2.8 GPA and 15 credit hours, and it's renewable for the entire time that they're in undergrad. It requires a 2.0 GPA, 18 ACT, or 960 SAT. But if the student has a higher GPA, has a 3.0, we will actually relax that test score a little bit. 17 ACT or 920 SAT. And then again, that is for the entire 4 years. We have some merit and presidential scholarships. Of course, those merits cover tuition, even for the out-of-state rate. So that's a 3.25 GPA, 23 ACT, or 1130 SAT. Again, does cover that for that entire time that you're enrolled in your undergraduate. And the presidential is a 3.75 and a 28 ACT or a 1310 SAT. Again, renewable, but it is what we consider to be the full ride. And that covers, of course, the classes, the bed, the food, and gives you a $1,000 book voucher each semester. So a lot of opportunities for scholarship. I did skip one set of scholarships called our heritage scholarships. Basically, students with 3.0 to 3.24 and 17 or 920 can get a $14,000 award, and that will be broken down over the entire 4 years. And students with a higher GPA, 3.25, and that same ACT of 17 or the SAT of 920 can actually get a $20,000 award. And the great thing about the Heritage Scholarship and our out-of-state tuition scholarship, we call it the Normalite. You can actually stack those two scholarships and help offset a lot of that cost to attend as an out-of-state student. And I know that was a lot of information, and my information was just posted. So if you have any specific questions about the scholarships, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you and walk you through that process.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So this question is from Morehouse and Spelman. Can you talk a little bit about Greek life on campus and also some of the extracurricular activities on campus? So we're going to start off with Morehouse and turn it over to Spelman.
Great. So Morehouse, we kind of look at ourselves as our own fraternity, but we do have what would be considered all five: Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I think I covered all of them. Oh, and Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. So we do have all five. They are in connection or in conjunction with Spelman College in terms of the Greek fraternities and the sororities of the Divine Nine. What's really great about that is that we have a lot of our activities that kind of are shared amongst both institutions. And there's a lot of strong legacy and pride when it comes to that opportunity of going Greek or pledging. There's focuses that where you have to have a certain GPA and there's certain expectations. And those aren't just on a general basis because you have to qualify for the general component, but those are also based upon the level on the schooling as well. So it does make a difference. So just know that and stay discreet. But I'll turn it over to my counterpart over at Spelman.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. So just to reiterate what Michael mentioned as far as Greek life. So at Spelman College, we do have the 4 historically Black sororities. So that would include Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sigma Gamma Rho, and Zeta Phi Beta as well. So in general, students can actually seek membership or pledge after their first year at Spelman College. So your first year, you're not permitted to do so, but after your first year, if that's an interest of yours, you can do that. I do want to note that there are so many different layers to Greek life at Spelman, and that while our students who are in sororities, they are active within their sororities, they are also very, very visible leaders on our campus. They are involved in community service. They are pouring out or pouring into their student body by hosting maybe a mindful meditation session. They are hosting personal defense classes. They are hosting sessions during Valentine's Day about self-love. So they are very committed not only to their membership in the sorority and ultimately their sororities, but they are also committed to continuing to be change agents, pouring into our student body, pouring into our campus community as active leaders on our campus as well. The second part of that question, extracurricular activities. As I mentioned, Spelman, we have 85 active registered student organizations. They are also very active, even in this virtual space. In addition, in fact, they're hosting a virtual registered student organization right now on their social media sites this week. But I do want to know as well that students do have the opportunity to take part in activities at Morehouse and at Clark Atlanta University. So for students interested in marching band, you can be a part of the Morehouse College marching band. We have students who are actually on the Morehouse College cheer team as well. We also have students who are a part of Mahogany in Motion, and that is ultimately the dance team for Morehouse College. Those are Spelman students. So there are lots of opportunities to stay engaged, and Greek life is a visible part of the Spelman College experience.
Thank you so much for sharing. Love hearing about the great Divine Nine representation on campus. So these next 2 questions are for Lincoln University and North Carolina Central. Specifically, a lot of students are asking questions about, I am coming from a place where I am often the minority student, right? I might be the only Black student on campus. What should make me choose an HBCU? Like what can an HBCU do for me than a PWI can't? So talk a little bit more about that. So this is for Lincoln University and also for North Carolina Central, about why students who might not be coming from places where there's a lot of representation, what can an HBCU do for them? So we're going to start off with North Carolina Central and move over to Lincoln.
Okay. So at HBCU, you're going to get a sense of a family and atmosphere. It's very inclusive. Here at NCC, we have over 100 clubs and organizations to help you get involved here on campus. NCCU is almost like a big family reunion in terms of the campuses and how accessible the professors and faculty and staff are on campus as well. And you're liable to see, the same person maybe 2 or 3 times in a day, so to speak. So it's a very welcoming atmosphere. It's not hard to get involved at all. And I would encourage students, once you get on campus, to get involved as much as possible, because you never know who you're going to meet in these clubs or organizations that can help you in the future or help you meet someone to get you to the place where you're looking to go as well.
Thank you. Lincoln?
Yeah, so Brandon made great points. And I think for me, college is about self-exploration. And what better place for you to do that than to be at an HBCU surrounded by not only your peers that look like you, but also faculty and staff that see you for who you really are and who you have the potential to be. I think this will realistically be one of the only points in times in your life when you will be able to be in the majority and not be a minority. So whether you're a high school student now or after you graduate going into the working world, you most likely are not going to be in a place where when you're in a room, everyone else is a person of color, whether that be Black or whether that be of another race that might attend the HBCU. So there is comfortability there. But there's also, for me, and as a student at a HBCU, this sense of pride and just like a different type of push. Like I personally in high school was in a magnet program where I was one of the only Black people in my courses, right? And I, was pushed, let's say, by my teachers, but it's a different type of push when you're at a historically Black college and you're being pushed by, like I said, your faculty or staff to just be the best that you can be. And you are in competition with your peers, but in a good way, because we all want to see each other win. There is no, I'm going to do this and not tell anybody about it because I want to be on top. It's like I want the person that's right next to me to win just as much as I want to win, because I know that when we leave this campus, we not only represent the university that we went to, but we represent us as Black people. So there is power in being on an HBCU campus and be able to be in the majority.
That is such a great point. I also think about my own experience in high school, being one of 2 Black girls that graduated from my high school that year and really wanted to not be in the minority anymore. And thinking about just the meeting folks who went to HBCUs that are so proud of their culture, so proud of who they are. And I should say, like, every single HBCU grad I've met is so comfortable in their own skin, because the schools that they go to preach that, you are excellent in your own right. Your skin color does not make you inferior. You are excellent in your own right. And so for any student who's probably the minority where they are and is strongly considering an HBCU, PWIs are great institutions. I'm not going to knock most colleges are great colleges, but what makes an HBCU unique, and what I've seen it be unique, is the history. You'll see every single school on this call talked about the history of how their campus is founded, right? I've yet to meet a PWI that talks about the history of how their school is founded. And so talking about that, and also knowing your history and being able to feel as though you are enough and nothing making you question that. And that is what an HBCU can do for you. So thank you so much for sharing that for both of you. And so I'm going to pass this over to FAMU. Specifically, can we talk about students who are leaving their high school and now heading off to college? What is the dorm life like? Are students required to live on campus? How is the housing selection process looking like? Because a lot of students may not be from Florida and are coming there. Can you talk a little bit about the dorm process for students?
Yes. Queen Star, thank you again. You're doing a great job. Just want to tell you that as well. The residence hall life is a big deal on our campus for a variety of reasons. First of all, you're going to be spending a lot of time there, and you're going to be with some of the people who you will create friendships with for the rest of their life. And I can't talk about the residence hall life without talking about the living learning communities. I touched on it briefly in my presentation, but say if you are a first-year student and you're going to stay at the spanking brand new North and South Towers. It's two towers with the own cafeteria right there on a nice section of campus. But you're going to be living with other students who are sharing your same career interests, right? You're going to be actually living there with them. That's going to be your support network. The learning part is that first year, you're actually going to be learning with a lot of those same students as well. And the reason why we do that, you're going to be in study groups at 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. We don't want you traipsing all over campus. You've got your group right there. But how it works, when you're the first domino that falls, you have to apply and get admitted, of course. And then you reserve your space with a deposit of $150, which means to tell us that you're coming and you're going to reserve your residence hall space. But just a great way to fraternize and have camaraderie, with your fellow students. I can't tell you how many alum I meet at homecoming who say that they still talk to their roommate, and we're talking about people, my age. But it's a great experience, and we've got a lot of different options on our campus, and they're very safe. We have a very safe campus as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so the next question I have is specifically for students who are now in a COVID environment, right? Where they might not have done extracurricular activities. And a lot of students are just nervous about how to talk about college when essentially for the past year, they've been home. So I know you've kind of said this before, Ms. Paula, but can you talk a little bit more about what students can stand out? Because I am still getting those type of questions about what can I do to stand out, given that I didn't essentially have a junior or a senior year. So just maybe put those students at ease who might be a little bit nervous.
Well, what you can't do is tell that story, like she was saying from Spelman. You want to boast and brag about yourself. So if you weren't able to do what you needed to do your junior, your sophomore, then possibly have a senior year, what did you do during that time? And the things that you did during that time, you probably created something. You probably did some things that you've never done before. You can even talk about yourself and things that you found. Let's just say in 2019, you might have felt one way about a certain thing, but then 2020 came. And 2020 showed you the reality of the world. How did you feel during all of this? How do you feel during a pandemic? How did your freedom get taken away from you? What do you feel that you went through during the pandemic and what you had to go through? Did you reach out and help others? Did you go to food drives? Did you give out food in boxes at the churches? What did you do when you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing, which was going to school? So you can make yourself stand out by making yourself stand out. So talk about you. Talk about what you did do. Talk about the things that you were going to do when you got into your junior year or you got into your senior year, and make that stand out, because those are the things that we have to look at, because you may not have that junior or senior year to talk about. So therefore, there are other things that you can do, but dig deep down in that bag of great ideas that you millennials come up with every day. So therefore, those are the things that you want to talk about that'll set yourself apart from anything else. Because who's doing that?
Absolutely. And sorry, I have a follow-up question, because everything you just said, a lot of students can write that in their essays, right? A lot of people have asked, what should we write in our personal statement essays? Everything Ms. Paula just said, definitely put that in your essays, because schools want to hear from you. How did you survive? I'm even thinking of this question for myself. Like, what did I feel like when my freedom was taken away, right? Like, think about these things and put that in your personal essay. Because a lot of colleges want to hear this. Also, students are asking questions about what is the difference between applying early and applying regular decisions? A lot of students are confused about what that looks like. So Ms. Paula, can you talk a little bit about that, about regular decision, early action, early decision? How do students decide the difference between the different application deadlines?
Okay, well, early decision gets you an early decision. So let's just say you're trying to go to college. You're like, oh my God, I have a 4.0. I know I'm going to get a scholarship. Well, you're right. because you made your choice early. So therefore, you may get awarded earlier than other students because you went and applied early. You did what you were supposed to do. Now, applying regular, that doesn't mean you're not going to get a scholarship. It just means if we have any scholarships that fit the requirement that you have, we will give. But don't be surprised if we don't, because those who applied early, what is the saying? The early bird catches the worm. That's what an early decision means, basically. The early bird catches the worm. So therefore, if you get accepted early, then other things will be offered to you earlier. If you if you apply later, you're not going to not get a scholarship. That's not what we're saying. But, it depends on the monetary value of the scholarship if it's still available, because the early bird caught the worm. So that's a great analogy of how to look at that. So you always want to kind of be early, be on top of it. But then, you have those students who are like, well, I'm going to procrastinate. I'll get to it. They'll still have a scholarship for me. They may, and they may not. So that's kind of where the ball falls when you have an early decision, just breaking it down in layman terms. It's like the early bird catches the worm. So you do anything early, you're going to get an early decision, and you'll probably get those options of scholarships before those people who do the regular application process.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for answering that question. And thank you for breaking it down for our students. So we have about 9 more minutes. So I want to be mindful of time as we're heading out. We have a lot of students who have asked about dual enrollment. So students who maybe took college classes at community colleges or even took AP classes. So I'm going to pass this over to Michael at Morehouse. How do colleges view AP classes, AP credit, and also dual enrollment as well? Maybe getting community college classes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I know we look for that. And I want to say just in our early action pool, there's been somewhere roughly around 35 to 40% of students who have applied early action that actually did dual enrollment. And so we look at that in terms of scholarship. We look at that in terms of actually waiving opportunities to have students take classes and take courses that are substituted as well. We do look at the AP exam. So if you took an AP exam, we look at that. And again, taking away or taking from what you did in high school, we look at everything. So for us, it's the AP, it's the dual enrollment, it's all those aspects. And those classes actually can be substituted. And I know a lot of HBCUs, they'll actually have that opportunity for you. So if you're doing dual enrollment, please understand that, but do not, and this is the key, do not, keeping it real, do not think that just because you did dual enrollment and that you took college classes, that's automatically going to deem you honor or a waiver to not have to worry about taking those same classes when you get to the other college or when you finally get to college, right? And so you want to keep that in mind. You need to submit those transcripts. So we definitely need a copy of those, and those transcripts will be evaluated. But, every institution does it differently. So you definitely want to make sure that you're communicating with that admissions office so that we can ensure that those classes are credited to you if you've taken them. But again, don't make the assumption that automatically that, you took sociology over at another college, that automatically that sociology will be substituted when you get to the college that you're in or that you want to go to. So that's my point about dual enrollment. It's definitely something to look at. And I encourage, if you're a sophomore or junior, find out that community college that's next to you, go to the other HBCU that might be in your area that might offer dual enrollment, go to the state school that might offer dual enrollment, because it does help your chances. And I will say too, just keeping it real, it does help your chances if in high school you might not have done as great as you might need it to. And so you might be looking for a little push. We like to see that. We like to see academic rigor. So I'll leave it to that.
No, absolutely. I love that the fact that you talked about that. For a lot of students, they don't take AP dual enrollment. One thing I will say, and I'm glad that you brought this up, every school is different. So there's some schools that are going to take your AP credit if it's a 4, or some schools will say it has to be a 5. Every single school is different in what they do for dual enrollment and what they do for AP. So please, please, please make sure that you know what your school's credit policy is, and make sure that you know whether they will accept that credit or not. The worst thing to have is for you to think that just because you took a dual enrollment, it doesn't mean you have to take a class at that school. And then you'll be surprised when they don't want that credit or they don't take that credit. So if you don't remember anything from this call, make sure you know the credit policy of your school that you are applying to. Because just because you took a college class in high school does not mean they're going to give you college credit for it. And every school is different. I'm not saying don't take dual enrollment. I'm not saying don't take AP. What I am saying is do your research and know what the school is looking for. Another thing, and this is just my personal opinion, when you take classes that are college level courses in high school, they make you more prepared for that college class, even if you don't get credit for it. What you get from an AP class, what you get from a dual credit class will help you hit the ground running when you get to college. So don't sit here and say, oh, they're not going to take that credit, so I don't want to take that AP class. No, those things definitely help you out once you get to college. For example, if you're taking computer science in high school and you spend 3 months studying coding or maybe Java, at college, they might only spend 2 weeks on that. But because you took that in high school, it makes you so much better, or make you more knowledgeable about the subject once you get to college. So please, if you have the opportunity, especially students of color, please take AP classes. Don't ever count yourself out. You have the ability to take college level courses in high school. Don't ever count yourself out. Take those AP classes, take those dual enrollment classes, even if you don't get credit for them at the school. I promise you, it's going to make you a better student once you get to that college, okay? So definitely do that. I saw a question about FAFSA on here. FAFSA opens October 1st every single year. Please make sure you complete your FAFSA very early, because a lot of students forget about FAFSA until the very end. Make sure you complete your FAFSA. So this is going to be my last question of the day, because I want to get everyone here at 9 o'clock. Can you tell me, I'm going to do a roll call, everybody gets maybe 30 seconds, why your institution is the best institution for students to go to? So we're going to start off, I'm going to actually do this backwards. So we're going to start off with you, Southern. Why is your institution the best in 30 seconds or less?
We have our human jukebox. We have the #1 nursing school. We have the #1 law school in the state of Louisiana. We have literally 5 different campuses you can choose and pick from. I mean, I don't see who wouldn't want to go to Southern. So that's my spiel.
That human jukebox sounds lit. I'm telling you. All right, Spelman, you're up next.
Yes, so I'll try to put this all in 30 seconds, but just in general, just to start off, Spelman is only one of 2 HBCUs specifically for women. So we were designed with the idea of being a safe space, a space to empower, educate, affirm women of color. Also, I want to note that for the STEM field specifically, Spelman College, we pride ourselves on exceeding boundaries and encouraging our students to break those glass ceilings. And for the STEM fields, we know women, and specifically women of color, are not well represented. However, Spelman ranks first in the nation for sending Black women to medical school. And so we're a space to not only empower our students, but to challenge them and to encourage them to be the best versions of themselves. And in all honesty, the proof is in the pudding.
It sure is. You better say the proof is in the pudding. Okay. All right. Morehouse, you're up.
All right. I'm going to try to keep it in 30 seconds. It's going to be very difficult. #1 reason, Morehouse is the only school of its kind. There's no other institution that will graduate 500 plus African-American men each year. I'll say it again, there is no other institution that will graduate 500 plus African-American men each year. So we pride ourselves on that. Leaders like Raphael Warnock, like I mentioned, Martin Luther King Jr. class in 1948, you have Sam Jackson, you have Spike Lee. So our alumni list is just bananas. On top of that, when you take the programs that we offer, Morehouse is ranked super high. #1 feeder school for Black men entering Harvard Business School, Harvard Law School, #1 institution in terms of producing and sending opportunities to become Rhodes Scholars. Humongous number there. Actually, we've done over 5. And then one of the major components is that Everybody looks at our college because they know that the next great leader is going to come out, and that could be you. So don't sleep on us. You definitely want to look at Morehouse, be a Morehouse man, change the world, define yourself so that then you could redefine the world. I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely. North Carolina Central, 30 seconds or less.
All right. So I can pretty much sum up why you should come to NCCU in 3 words. Family, opportunity, and service, because you're going to get all 3 of those here at the institution. As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, we are one of the first schools in the University of North Carolina school system to actually implement a graduation requirement of community service. We have tons of clubs and organizations that help you get involved here on campus. Our business school is highly accredited by the AACSB, which is the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business. And only 5% of the schools around the country actually have this recognition. Our law school program is also highly accredited as well. And as I mentioned, we're a big family atmosphere. You're going to get tons of opportunity for service, job opportunity, and job placement as well here at NCCU.
Perfect. Thank you. Lincoln University.
Okay, so why you should attend Lincoln University. One, Lincoln University is the nation's first degree-granting HBCU, and as the first degree-granting HBCU, we put our students first because they are first. As a Lincoln University student, you will be valued, you will be seen, you will be pushed, you will receive so many opportunities that you may not receive at other institutions. One of those even including our Horace Mann Bond Scholarship, which could allow you to go to law school or medical school or graduate school for free after graduating from Lincoln. So there are so many opportunities that we have, and I'm going to leave you with that little snippet, and you can contact us for more information.
Girl, I really like this hair, and thank you so much, Lincoln University. Florida A&M, you're up.
Ms. Queen Star, thank you for the opportunity tonight. We've all had a great time, but students and parents, none of us can dictate what's the best place for you to go, because to be honest with you, we'd have to ask you additional questions. We don't know your nicknames or your middle names or what your favorite color is. So I'm not going to kind of imply that we're magic, but we have this expression at FAMU called discover what you can become. That word discover, that's an action word. That's a verb. I'll normally ask a student, what do you want to be when you grow up? When they tell me this wonderful thing, I'll say, well, what are you doing right now to make that happen? All right. So if you're into some of the things that I mentioned, if you're into being involved, in clubs and organizations and being involved in your college or school and volunteering, not being able to step up for an internship and compete. Don't get me wrong, it's not cutthroat, but FAMU is a competitive environment. And if you want to be around about 10,000 other committed and dedicated students like yourself, that a lot of them will look like you and do great things, we might be the place for you.
Perfect. Love it. And last but certainly not least for today, because we do have more HBCUs tomorrow, Claflin University.
I'm going to sum it up for you. Excellence, innovation, and we also carry the Claflin confidence. And if you want to know what that is, come to Claflin.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much to our wonderful, wonderful HBCUs that presented here today. If you see on your screen, we have more universities coming tomorrow night. You will see Howard is on there, Hampton is on there, Tuskegee. We have the best of the best at Real Talk HBCU edition. And so if you did not take a screenshot of all of these people that were on this call, please make sure you do so. And then the College Board, these are the contact right there. Make sure you take a screenshot. I'm going to give everyone 10 seconds or less if you have not taken this screenshot so that you can contact them directly with your questions. Don't forget, College Board has a lot of resources to help you on your path to college. Take that QR code right there. It will take you to Big Future, and then you can learn more about these scholarships and the student search services. As always, I love to leave you all with a positive note. You are excellent beyond measure. You are capable. you have the power to make your life what you want it. These institutions right here are ready and willing to help you on your path to greatness. I am Queen Star Akron. It has been the ultimate pleasure being your host today. I leave you with so much peace, so much love, so much blessings, and all the best to you as you find your way to college. Much love. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.